Hello everyone, it is Wednesday and I have adjusted my audio settings so hopefully it wasn't as blasty as yesterday. I apologize. I tried to up it because some people said it was too quiet before and people said it sounded overmodulated. So it's just peeking a little bit into the red. It's mostly in the yellow now, so that should be good. There's a real sweet spot on YouTube for audio that I struggle with from the old TV days, because if it wasn't like in the green most of the time, then you were in trouble. Back then, YouTube's totally different. I don't know why. And yes, my hair is darker. It was a run-on joke on Twitch last night where we finished Mist, so everybody saw it in its entirety now, the glory that is Mist. We're going to be continuing with Riven because people seem to like it. And it was kind of a good one because it's puzzly and it was hilarious. I spent 45 minutes trying to get through the, Selenic Age submarine thing. You should go and watch the Twitch stream because it became hilariously inappropriate, and I'm already going to push it with this YouTube video. So this will probably get demonetized. So if you like this content, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK, because I am going to give a shout out to somebody who I've been chatting with on Twitter for a while. He asked me to check out this article and I absolutely loved it. And I spend a lot of time like dunking on people whose work I think is kind of garbage for good reason. But this was really great. And I really want to commend this writer, Pete Davidson, for going there and not like being all mean, actually being like personal and honest and talking about how the emotional content of games matters to him. So let's just dive in. I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm going to link it to it in the description box. Please go read it. Like, give his site a click because the whole thing is really great. But I want to focus on one part that I thought was especially great. Not this part. Though boobs are always great. They're almost like all looking like, shh, they're talking about boobs. But that's not it. He basically outlines how there's a ton of articles of late basically being derisive about the fact that anime sex games, quote, I'm mispronouncing the word, like eroge games are popular on Steam. I use the term anime sex games because it's here. We're not going to click on anything more by Nathan Grayson this week. Oh my God. But he outlines all the links to all the sort of negative coverage of these sorts of games. Senran Kagura is damaging the industry and insultingly degrading and misogynistic atrocity. Dungeon Travelers 2 is a creepy porn-like dungeon crawler. Valkyrie Drive Bikuni is played by pedophiles. On and on and on and on and on. Of course, Vice has to go full Vice and said that those interested in Senran Kagura would be sexually assaulting strangers on public transport if they didn't have this game to occupy themselves. Okay. What Pete did instead is, first of all, pointed out all these articles are written by men. No women were involved in this shaming of sexy time. And he drew attention to a series of tweets from a Twitter user called Meru, the translator for Love Cubed, because she provides an interesting perspective on things. This is where I'm going to pick up the article, as he says, both as someone who isn't me and as a woman. So Meru says, something the Kotaku article got me thinking about. While I acknowledge that most eros are indeed aimed at men, what attracted me as a woman to them was the fact that you get to experience a relationship with the characters, making the sex scenes more intimate. Sure, those scenes tend to be from a male perspective, and there are many things I dislike about the average eroge scene, but they offer something way more emotional than your average Western porn movie, and that's the connection I was looking for. Women are just as sexual as men, but and this is a very broad generalization, we often tend to enjoy porn with an emotional depth to it. It's why bodice ripper romance novels and fanfic are so popular. Now, I have no idea if this is something that's innate or socialized. Probably socialized. I mean, most things are, but it is what it is. And there are female Eroge fans out there who find a lot of joy in these games. I'm not trying to destroy a narrative here or anything, as I'm not denying the audience for Eroge is primarily male, but instead of always looking for the negatives, it'd be nice to see bigger outlets look at some of the positives of these anime sex games. And Pete goes on to say, Mero makes a great point here about emotional engagement. Even in Nikuji, that emphasizes sex over narrative, developers and writers make an effort to construct characters in a way that make us care about them. They provide them with personality, backstory, character traits, tics, and habits. All the things that come together to make a character feel more like a person and less just like some text, graphics, and sounds. And her preference for seeking... I'm way too high. Okay. And her preference for seeing sexual scenes in the context of a healthy relationship is by no means exclusive to women either. Speaking for myself, I certainly struggle to engage with straight up context-free porn. I'll skip the parentheses because of YouTube, but it was a funny line. Whereas if there's a significant attempt to invest me in the characters involved before anything even remotely sexual happens, I feel extremely emotionally fulfilled when things do proceed to another level. By extension, those erotic scenes, when they happen, feel much more powerful and meaningful, both emotionally and outright physically as a result. And he goes on and talks about Love Cubed. And then he says... Miro speaking up about Grayson's article also raises another important point. These games are made by people. They don't just appear from the aether, ready and waiting to fulfill every fantasy of heterosexual straight men without question. They're the creation of substantial teams consisting of real people who designed the characters, real people who wrote the prose and dialogue, real people who localized that dialogue to bring the work to a broader audience, real people who composed the music to complement the characters and the events that unfold, real people who drew 2D artwork and constructed 3D models, real people who animated characters and cutscenes, real people who provided their voices to play the roles of the very characters, and plenty more besides. With that in mind, it feels fundamentally disrespectful to write off the work of so many people as just an anime sex game, or to discard it based on its target audience. Well freaking said, man. Like I said, I suggest you go back and read the whole thing. It's a good article, and there's many more graphics like the ones you saw. And he says in another part, emotional engagement is extremely important for a healthy relationship, and the most memorable relationships in games acknowledge both this and the fact that emotional intimacy often brings with it the desire to be physically intimate too. And I can't emphasize this enough. That is very much okay. So I want to give kudos to Pete Davidson at MoeGamer. Well freaking done, man. Like this, we need more real talk like this. This, I believe, is extremely important because I do believe that this derision of any sexual content in games really, in the long term, is going to marginalize female participation in games because, and I believe this because I've read enough fanfic to know plenty of women interested in sex plenty. And women do like those relationships and all that stuff in games. And if developers are afraid to go there because, it's going to be derided, that's not cool. I haven't played many of these anime games. I've had people show them to me and I kind of access them through, what do you like about it? And, I've played a few. It's not my thing just because there's too much talky and not enough shooty. What could I say? Like there have to be puzzles or there have to be explosions for me in a game. I know I'm a butthead, but that's just where I come at it. And I'm really glad that someone finally spoke up and instead of hiding behind, it's this, that, next thing, spoke from the heart and was honest about the emotional connection that men have too towards content. So congratulations Pete Davidson, well done. See, I do praise things as well as dunk on things. I like doing that. I don't like going negative. I don't. YouTube loves it, but I don't. Anyway, help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. I am off to PAX tomorrow. Thanks for watching.